And welcome to another video. And yeah, this is my park that I've been working on roughly about 5-6 weeks now. I promised a member of our Discord and a very good builder, Clary Bread, that I would finish a park by the end of this month, because I haven't physically finished a park on my own since the game's come out, apart from Hollow Peaks, which was a collaboration I did with another builder called TeeJay. So yeah, I said, right, I will build a park. It's going to be a mini park, but I will build and finish a park. And that's exactly what I did. It's a little bit bigger than expected. So I built this area here, minus this coaster here. And I was like, there we go, I'm done, finished. But then the percentage got the better of me, and I was like, well, no, I'm going to have to continue building, which I did, and ended up building all this area along with the wooden coaster and everything that we see here at the back. But we'll get back into that in a bit. So yeah, this is Twin Palms Marina Rehabilitation Park and Gardens. I know it's a little bit of a mouthful. The idea of this is I saw some kind of really janky architecture online, and I was like, that building is really, really cool. And I think, you know, I want to try and build something like that in Planet Coaster. And that's exactly what I did. And the building was this entrance bit here. So I built this and then just went from there, really. The idea of the park is it's a SeaWorld kind of marina park, so it has live animal shows, being orca shows, dolphin, you know, that kind of thing. But it is also a kind of rescue centre where they will get injured animals, you know, feed them, get them back up to strength, and then, you know, let them back into the wild. That kind of thing anyways. So we'll just get straight into it. So yeah, you've got this kind of road where you'd enter into the park. You've got your golf course onto the left. This was a big empty space and I didn't know what to do. I didn't really have the percentage to theme it massively and put more rides and stuff in. So as there is a big hotel here, I thought, why not make this kind of a resort and put a golf course in? So that's exactly what I did. Doesn't take much piece count, you know, a couple of trees, a bit of terrain work and a bit of paint. So, you know, you've got your golfers here, some golf carts, and I've done a little bit of a driving range. So I don't know how many people have you played golf or seen golf, but the idea for a driving range is you'd get 50 balls at £5 or something, and just whack the ball as far as you can. I've put a bit of a safety gate up so you don't lose so many balls, and you know, it's just practicing your shooting and shots and stuff. So yeah, that's exactly what I did. Quite easy to fill. And then I had the idea, because the space wasn't massive and golf courses are pretty big, is you would come over here and the golf course would continue over there somewhere. So yeah, a good space filler really. Pretty happy how it turned out. I think you can tell what it is. But anyways. Yeah, so you've got Twin Palms Marina Park. And then this is the car park. So you've got your taxis drop off here, a little bit of disabled parking, and yeah, I didn't want a massive car park. I just wanted, you know, something to fill the space again, put it into a car park but not overpack it. So here we've got Twin Palms Marina Rehabilitation Park and Gardens. Custom sign, not my strongest point, but I think it works. I didn't want it too in your face, so that's what I've come up with. You've got your entrance gates here, and you've got your exit gate here, which used to house a path here, but I had a massive issue with clipping guests getting in here because this area gets pretty crowded, as you can already see, but removing this path kind of makes it a little bit easier for the throughput of guests. And then here we have a kind of free transport ride which would take you to the car park. We'll just try and see it in action. So yeah, this takes you through the car park. And then it would take you all the way up to this hotel, which we'll look at a later bit of the video. And then yeah, guests who are staying in the hotel obviously can get transport from here to the main gate if they needed to. So as we come in, I've kind of shied away from the turnstiles that I've done in a lot of my parks, and I've put these kind of turnstile gates in. I thought it fit a little bit better. Pretty happy how they've turned out, to be honest. And then you're greeted by this kind of fountain statue with the dolphins. You know, just not in your face again, but just something that this kind of park would have. And then we've got some guest services on your right, with also this kind of janky architecture and some lockers. The original idea was going to be kitting this out with desks and you know, push chairs and stuff, but I've actually made it a working area, mainly because I only had a few shops in this park and the area was getting really crowded with guests. So to try and spread the guests out a little bit, I've just put a few tables and shops in. It's not the prettiest in here, but it's mainly for the exterior I've done it. And then you've got your lockers as well. Not usable, unfortunately, but you know, it adds to the area. And then just on this side, we've got some restrooms, toilets, a bit of a staff room, some ATMs. I was going to try and sink these ATMs into the wall a little bit more, but I couldn't get it to work, so that's how it's come out. And then you've just got some fast pass ticket kind of show tickets as well, again with the same kind of architecture as the main building and the guest services. A little bit of a seating area, that was a last minute thing, just for guests to sit and eat on. Got our first flat ride, again same colour scheme, and I thought it would fit the theme of the park, being an octopus and being it kind of a marina kind of park. Nothing too fancy with the queue line. I knew I wanted the queue line to be covered slightly. I know it's not the prettiest, but you know, I think it works again. So yeah. And then we've got this main building at the back. Unfortunately, I can't take the credit for this building. This was made by a great builder, also in our Discord, Gekkie Squad. I asked him to build, well, I was building another park, and I showed him some pictures and said, I'm working on this park, and this is the kind of architecture I would like. Is there anything you could do? And this is what he came out with. And I mean, it's a beautiful building, and it fits the part that I was doing, but I thought, you know what, it would also fit this park. The colours are just perfect. So I've just thrown it in this park as well. It is a working hotel, so a restaurant. So there is a restaurant in there, and you know, you can see this kind of orca here, which behind here there is something that we'll get to, but in theory the entrance to what lies behind this building would be through here as well. So we'll go around this way. I'll just open this part ride. So yeah, we got our first coaster. I knew I wanted to build some kind of water coaster. And this is what I came up with. It's not mainly water, but it has some water elements. And it's themed around, you know, this volcano. It was the first thing I put in the park after the entrance. And I think it just sits nicely here. Adds a little bit of height to the park. And we'll give it a ride. So just as we're going up the chain lift, I wasn't building this park for the coasters. The coasters were just an addition to add something to the park. So my coasters weren't great. They're still not perfect. But since I've put all the scenery and everything that I wanted to put in, I went back to the coasters, you know, smoothed them out a little bit and extended. So this coaster was very short, but I've extended it, themed it a little bit more, smoothed it out to bring it up to more of a standard that I have been, you know, producing in the past. I think it turns out okay. Obviously could still do with a little bit more work, but I'm happy with it as it stands, and the stats are pretty good as well. So yeah, you go. Not the most thrilling coaster, but I think it's more of a scenery kind of coaster. So yeah, like I say, I'm pretty happy with how it's come out. So if we go through this tunnel, we come into a bit of a new area with this. I was going to go for an Amazon-y kind of jungle-y feel. It's not exactly how it's turned out, but again, I'm also happy. Just up the pirate ship in here, not themed at all really. It just fit the area, and I think, you know, it's themed pretty well as standard anyways. So I've just left that as it is. And then I've used this blueprint, which was something I built for Hollow Peaks, my collaboration park I did with TeeJay. You know, I thought it fit the area. It adds a few shops, a bit of a seating area. And over this side, I've done our first kind of show. So as you can see, guests can come down here. And you know, you would get your ticket from that ticket booth at the entrance. You can watch a kind of show. And then if you're feeling brave enough, you could come and stand in the box. And if you're really brave, you could get into your swimming trunks and take a dive and come and experience the crocodile kind of experience and get really close and personal with them. So, you know, it fits the area quite nicely. Pretty happy how it turned out. We'll go through here. This is the newest bit of the park. So there was a toilet sat in here, but you know, I had a bit of extra percentage. I was like, you know what, let's stick another coaster. Where shall I put it? I ended up putting it behind here, and this is where the path ended up going. So So I wanted this a bit of a safari kind of feel. So that's exactly what I've done here. You know, you've got your lions and your panther and whatnot, big cats. You know, you'd come through, greeted by this sign, which says Kerbui, which is it's Swahili for pride. You know, and I've kept this kind of wooden African kind of feel to it. I've do a bit of a custom tree, a bit like the one that you find at Animal Kingdom at Disney, the Tree of Life or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, we'll have a quick ride on this coaster, if it'll let me select it. So again, this was just a quick build coaster, and then once everything was in place, I went back and you know, made this coaster a bit more. So I've added this sound tunnel, just mainly for view lines from around the park. And then I've added a bit of an element that you won't find on wooden coasters towards the end of the ride, which we'll see. So yeah, it's not your traditional kind of GCI coaster. As you probably saw, I did add an inversion, and I know they're not known for inversions, these coasters. However, one of them, you know, did have a loop back in the day. The main reason was none of my coasters had any inversions. And I did try and toy with some of the other coasters to try and add inversions, but you know, the spacing wasn't big enough, so I threw it in here. You know, I think it works. Add something a bit different. You got your maintenance area. I haven't kitted anything out in here. It's literally just a cave, but it adds that immersion. So yeah, that was that coaster. Again, pretty happy with how it's turned out. And then I built this a while ago, to be honest. Was going to make it into, you know, a really posh restaurant called the Ivory. But again, with piece count, bit of a pain. So I've made some seating area and just thrown a load of vending machines in here just to get guests in here, so guests can walk all the way around here, and does get quite busy, so it looks pretty good. And I know from a distance it's just a stature piece, really. But yeah, again, pretty happy how it's turned out, and I think, you know, it sits quite nicely there. So we've got a Ferris wheel. What part's complete without one? Again, it's more for sight lines rather than anything else. You know, from wherever you see this wheel, you know, lit up as well. You know, the coaster in the background. So that was the idea behind that. And then I'll show you this. So this is what lies behind this building here. What SeaWorld park is complete without, you know, some kind of killer whale dolphin show? So this is exactly what I've done. I do know it's a shark, but yeah, I've used a shark. Just got to deal with it. So yeah, you would pay and come through this building, get your tickets. In theory, there's a pathway that runs under this seat. You'd come out here and you could watch the show. You know, you've got your trainers, so she'll be doing a bit of a speech telling you what's happening. This lady and the killer whale will be doing the show. And then when I did post this, people were like, oh, pool's a bit small. And I know it was, but, you know, so I added this kind of other pool. So this is where the animal would sleep and play, and this is going to be pretty deep in theory. But yeah, and then I added this little bit of extension on here, so this is, you know, fish and stuff would be kept in here to feed the animal. Again, really happy with how that's turned out. And then, yeah, we'll carry on going through. So then we have this coaster. I was watching a video, I think Iron Matty did, and in the spotlight the person put some pictures behind these chimneys, and I was like, that looks really cool. So I thought I'd take it a step further and add my own thing. So, you know, you've got these killer whales and it kind of looks like a tank. So it's just basic theming really. I wanted to finish this, you know, fence it off, add stuff, but I've just left it as it is, you know. So yeah, very basic station. I had to go at some more custom signing. The lagoon, this is really rubbish, but it's not something you should look at up close. It's more of a from about here. So yeah, you'd come up the queue path, nothing special, a few sun shelter areas, and then you'd come up into the station. So we'll have a quick ride of this. So yeah, enjoy. So there we have it, the lagoon, and it's got that kind of tropical setting, lagoon kind of setting, hence the name. And I just added a load of waterfalls just for something to look at. So I think it kind of works from any way you look at it really. And then I've just put this darker blue lighting around the track, and then the water with the light blue, and then the pinks and greens towards the back end. So a nice sight line, I think. Which brings me to this next bit. This was the toughest bit of the park I've done. Very fiddly, quite a compact area. So as you can see by the name, it's an aquarium. Personally, I think it looks better at night. So yeah, guests can come in here, as you can see. So you'd come in, and you might recognize some of these fish and animals and stuff. Recently, Magic Mike 69 did his Mist puzzle park, and he had a big underwater section and used some of these. So instead of building my own, I wasn't going to build much better than what was already built. So I've just used them really. and expanded a little bit. So yeah, you've got an aquarium here. Guests will come in, as you can see, these two, and they'll have a look at the fish. Where are these guys going? I don't know where they're going, but okay, they're looking there, taking some pictures. We've got a bit of a petting pool here, and then this bit was the hardest bit. So you'd come down here, and in theory this would be kind of a shark walkthrough area, but because the sharks have that big mechanical thing at the bottom, it didn't look right, so I've just used them fish and octopus, squid, crab thing, jellyfish. So yeah, it's just a walk-through tunnel, which is actually underwater. It was a bit fiddly to do, but I think it's pulled off and looks okay. And like I say, guests can come down here, and there's a few vista points and stuff for them to take pictures. And then you would loop back round and you're back to the start. So yeah, that was the aquarium. I'm really happy how it's turned out. It's not too big and it's not too small. It's something you would find. So go back today. And then we come round here. We've just got some dodgems. These did sit open just as they came, but you know, I had a bit of extra percentage, so I thought I'd throw it into some sort of cave. I think it works nicely, hidden under these rocks. Yeah, it just fits the theme again. And then yeah, you're back round to the start. So like I say, it's not the biggest park, and it comes round in a loop, and then you've got this cut off area. So these are the shops I was talking about. These were like the only main shops I had, and this path was chock-a-block. Couldn't not move in it, hence why I added the shops in the guest services. I've added quite a lot of vending machines around the park just to try and, you know, spread the guests out. So yeah, that was the park originally, minus the wooden coaster. And like I said, I just kind of got the better of myself and thought, right, I'm going to keep building. So I added this path, which is very crowded at the moment, which comes across here into the new section of the park. And we'll look over here in a bit, because this is probably one of my favourite areas back there. So yeah, you'd come over here, you got your top spin. Again, my flat rides are not being themed, they've just been plopped down. You've got this set to just spin sideways so it doesn't raise up, and I've put the tree in. That's probably your best thing you've got for a flat ride. And then we've got this ride here, which again, not themed, but you know, this area is probably the most extreme bit of the park, so you've got some, you know, quite extreme flat rides. And then I built this coaster. Quite happy with how this has turned out. So you may think that this is you know, just a standard coaster. However, there's two coasters here. So I wanted a kind of boomerang coaster, but most of the boomerangs in game have the back bit where it goes up a hill and then comes down and does the boomerang. I didn't want that. I wanted it to kind of launch straight out the station. So we'll give it a ride and then I'll show you how I've done it. So it does 2 runs of this, so it'll just barely make it to the station, and then it'll launch again. So yeah, it's an SLV coaster, but some of you may know that the SLV track is horrible. So I'll show you what I've done. So the SLV sits under there, and then I've just used a copperhead strike track and placed it over the top. And then used those supports and taken the supports off the SLV and just used a rock work to support it. The Cophead Strike has a much nicer track for what I wanted. And then obviously into this curve, you know, kind of like a scorpion's tail. And I think it, you know, it gives some really nice sight lines. I mean, it's very bright, but again, that's kind of what I wanted. I'm not the massive fan of the brightness, but for this coaster, I think it works. And I think the orange works pretty well around the loop. And then, yeah, it's got this station. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with the station, to be honest. I was going to have it open, but, you know, ended up doing this kind of glass triangular pyramid station with all the beams. I think it kind of fits. And then add the shops underneath, again for guest flow. And then we've got the main hotel. And the golf course. I built the main building, and then I've kind of just merged it and compacted it all together, brought different heights, stuff like that. It is a hotel. There's a decent amount of rooms scattered around, from luxury to standard rooms. And again, your shuttle bus that'll take you to the park if you want, or you can enter just through there. So yeah, I can't take credit. I'll try and credit everyone whose blueprints I've used. This was Mike Bridgman's blueprint. I could have built the tennis courts myself, but you know what? I wasn't going to build much better than that. So instead of, you know, taking 20 minutes, half an hour to build some tennis courts, I just used his. His are perfect. Fits the theme. So I've thrown them down. You know, and then round the back, you got your swimming area. I was going to do a separate pool, but you know, they've got the sea, and I've cut it off from the rest of the ocean. So yeah, you've got a bit of a swimming pool, some deck chairs. Again, you know, nothing too fancy. A few jet skis. These are rubbish, but they're not meant to be looked at close up. So yeah, you get the idea. Some jet skis. And yeah, really nice. I just like how this turns out. You know, it's not too bright. It's quite luxurious, kind of country house kind of feel. And then we've got Aqualand. So I was going to try and get this for guests to come on, you know, put some stuff down and make it accessible, but I decided against it. So unfortunately, the water park is closed due to COVID, as these guests are just reading now. They're not happy. They're not happy because it's closed. But yeah, you've got some water slides. some more water slides. Again, I wasn't going to build much better than this, so I've used something that TeeJay made for his water park. He did this kind of raft conveyor belt to bring your rafts back up to the top of the slide. You know, and then I've added this kind of crane last minute, just as the park's closed. They're just doing a bit of maintenance construction work, and then yeah, it's all closed off to get up to the top of the slides. So I haven't done too much theming up here because yeah, I didn't need to. Use what you can, you know, theme what you can see, don't theme what you can't. So I'll just show you this. It took me a while to do. So this is the volcano. So as you can see, the whole park is quite, you know, up there with volcanoes, quite a lot of rock work and stuff. So I added that, just more of a scenery piece really. I think it looks really nice, to be honest. And then you've got this cruise boat. You know, this did house a big ship I made, but it became out too big and it was about 12% on the counter. I was just like, no, that needs to go. So deleted it, just stuck this in piece gaming. And it's just like a little cruise ship. It's obviously you can't ride it, but that's the idea. And then I've added a little bit of pathing down here last minute, just to bring guests down here as well. So we've got the Boathouse, which is technically a restaurant. And there's a toilet in there just to get guests in there. You've got your lighthouse. You know, why not? And then you've got the ferry port as well, so you would board onto here, and then obviously it'll take you up to that cave, which would be some kind of crystal cave thing, and then come back. Guests can come up here. Obviously there's a shop in there, put a bit of a popcorn machine. Just to again move guests. I think that was the hardest bit of the park, is to try and move guests around the park as best I can really. And then really the only last bit is probably my favourite bit of the park. So as I say, got the car park, and then we've got a bit of a kind of backstage staff area. So yeah, you'd come here, he'd check you in, you'd come, you know, down here, through here, into this bit. So yeah, this is my backstage area. So as you probably know, it's a Marina Rehabilitation Park, and this is where it's come from. So they would rescue animals. So we've got a killer whale that's been rescued here, dropped into the pool. They can do tests and stuff with with all the animals that they save and rescue. You know, they'd probably use them for the shows over there, which probably isn't, you know, the most ethical thing to do, but it is what it is. And then once they're fully recovered, they'd be released back into the wild, whether it's the ocean or whatnot. So here I've made my own killer whale. You know, this is being shipped from wherever, and it'll be released into this kind of pool. You've got your guys and stuff making sure he's okay. And I showed this amazing creator called MavsFam4. You've probably heard of him. I showed him this area and he was like, oh, this is really cool. This would look great with like one of my medical buildings if you want to use. So I said, you know what, I will. And that's what I've did. So this building here is Mavs Fan 4, so thank you very much for letting me use it. And I think, you know, it fits perfectly. And if you haven't checked out any of the creator stuff that I've used in here, whether that's TeeJay, Mavs Fam, mikebridgman, Gekkie Squad, I'd definitely check them out. Some of their builds are amazing. You know, a little bit of a backstage area. And yeah, that's basically the park. It's not the biggest park. However, it does use most of the area, but most of it is just vacant stuff like these mountains. And then it's just got a full light package that I've done. I didn't want to saturate it with light. So I've added light where it needs to be. And yeah, pretty happy with how it's turned out. You know, it's got some nice elements that I do like. And it's my first park I've completed, and it's only taken me 5.5 weeks, I think, to do, which is quite fast on some standards. I mean, I have rushed bits out because, you know, I was only going to do it by the end of the month and finish it. So I've rushed quite a bit out. So, you know, some things aren't perfect that other people would probably do perfect, but you know what, for what it is, I think it works. So yeah, that's my park, Twin Palms Marina Rehabilitation Park and Gardens. I hope you all enjoyed. I did actually enjoy building this, and yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.